Alrighty, howdy. I'm Shentok and here with Sylvan Tail on the Game Gear. And if we're ready on the timer, I can just count us down. And we'll start in 3, 2, 1, and go. Alrighty, so this was a very late release Game Gear game, like 1995. It was only released in Japan. It was done internally by Sega. I am playing on a fan translation patch that came out in, I believe, 2001 or something like that. And I actually am playing on a real Game Gear right now. It's been modified to have a video output and just captured in glorious RGB with the beautiful sound chip. So basically, we play as this guy. We hear a sound, or we hear a voice from on top of a tree while we're hanging out in the field, and it says, "Hey, you need to find all the droplets and save the country." And that's exactly what we're going to do. So this is like very much similar to a Legend of Zelda game, but it's definitely been miniaturized for the handheld. Dungeons are fairly short. The game's pretty reasonable with letting you save anywhere, so like if anything goes wrong, you can load from a save. And first thing you notice is we can run. We have a double tap to run. We do have a sword for attack, and it's basically our main form of damage. So the first thing the game tells us is that we need to go find a rock that looks like a face and go enter it to get the first droplet. Or, no, we don't get the first droplet, we get we get a droplet and we get an ability. So it's real simple. There's the face, just press a couple switches and go right in. I'm gonna go ahead and make a safety save, because I have messed up this dungeon before. And normally there's a puzzle they expect us to do, but we're just gonna damage boost and skip half of it. And just, luckily, we have just enough health to get through this. Let's see. Alright. Oh, okay, there we go. And so we have to drop down this side. It pushes down the switch, which opens up that pathway over there that we just crossed. And now we go on that switch. And what that lets do is get the flame crest over here, which is needed to enter the boss room. And kill this guy, he's in the way. And we're just go straight in the menu, equip that. Because we need that to enter the boss room, and the only way we can use it is by having it equipped. And we just loop back to the start of the dungeon, because this dungeon is pretty simple and small. And then there's the entrance right there, I entrance, by entrance. Just go right past it, now the flames are gone. Just go right here. And go ahead and do a safety save right here. Because it's like just the best place to save. Okay, kill that dude. So I am currently one hit from death. If I take any hit from the boss, I will die and have to restart it. But hopefully that doesn't happen. So this dude just goes around, he bounces from corner to corner, and he always does a pattern of attacks. And ideally we want to get in damage as quickly as possible, because if you get in quick enough, you can get in before it resets his animation frame and get an extra hit in for free. Ooh, dang. I made a poor choice right there. And that's why I made a safety save. And weirdly enough, for whatever reason, when you reload from a save, you get more HP back than what you saved with when you're like near death. Okay, there we go. Now we can take 2 hits instead of 1. The early game is very, very tough, I would say. Especially the boss after this, we'll get to that. 3, 4, alrighty. So just basically waiting for him to bounce around like that. Okay, there we go. I feel a bit more safe now that I have an extra hit. Sometimes you can get lucky and enemies will drop health, but I wasn't so fortunate. Because it's not exactly a common drop. Okay, there we go. There we go. So we get the first of the 6 droplets. And with each droplet we get an extra ability. Now we learn the 100 Slices technique, which lets us do a flurry attack, and that's going to basically be our main form of damage. It does more than our regular slash attack, and it does continuous damage, which is pretty handy in some cases. And it also let us cut down vines, which is only really handy in this area, because we need to go here, It's only 97 attacks. You have caught me. So we're here, get this lamp. We are doing the 100% category, so that means we have to get all the items. But the lamp is something that you should get anyways. We're going to be going into an area that's completely darkened, and if we have the lamp equipped, we can see where we go. And it's also kind of funny. You can actually go into the next area without the lamp, but if you've never collected the lamp, the layout actually changes. So you don't. So you can memorize the layout from what you see, but it's going to be a completely different layout if you never get the lamp. And they probably did that on purpose to make it so that you have no choice but to get the lamp. So we're going to do. Right now, so we're in the turtle altar. We're going to do some damage boosting. We have to hit some switches. Like that one. There's 3 of them in total. And it's okay to take some damage. We want to ideally keep as much health as we can for the next boss fight. So hitting those 3 switches just opens up that door. Then we're going to get the first of 17 oranges because we want to prevent scurvy. It's no good. It's a real serious problem here in Sylvan. But actually what oranges do is they just increase your health, similar to like a heart in a Zelda game. And there's 17 of them total. We're going to be definitely collecting all of them. We don't want to miss a single one, otherwise this won't be a 100% category. So now we get the first bit of like real RNG. This dude bounces around. Sometimes he can come up after one tile flip like that. Sometimes he takes several. And we have to hit him 6 times. Okay, no. There we go. And one more. Bam. So we only need to hit the top right switch here, but conveniently by following the pattern of hitting all 4 switches, you can avoid the enemy attacks. And we're just going to avoid those enemies. There's no real reason to kill a lot of enemies in the game. Sometimes I'll kill them if they're in the way and hopefully get like a health drop. There's like different kinds of fruit that you get for health. You get like, there's a single cherry, a double cherry. There's also a pineapple, which restores your health completely. There's an apple, which you can get as like a regular item that, when used, restores a significant chunk of your health. Up until probably when you get near full health, it restores your health completely. So right there, we got our first transformation power. Ooh, whoa. That's rare that the turtle's here. So the gimmick in this game is that you can transform into various animals to get past obstacles and complete puzzles. And the turtle's the first one we get. It's a very, very slow-moving power-up, but it does have its uses. So now I get another orange. So normally I'd be playing this game in Japanese, but for the marathon folk, I wanted to have this game in English so you can get an idea of what's going on. It is a bit slower and it is a fan translation, but I think it's a very quality translation for when it came out. So now we're going to go up here and enter here. So yeah, story. So the little town we're in, it's called basically grass country. But in the localization, they chose the flavor name Flora, or no, not Flora, Verde. Yeah. And in this town, all the adults are being kidnapped by monsters, whereas the kids are stuck being left alone. So basically, parents are being kidnapped and who knows what, killed, I guess. Because I'm not sure why they'd want to kidnap the parents. But so now we're going to go to our first real boss, Anne, and in her labyrinth. We're just going to try to avoid taking damage. It took a little bit there, that's okay. It's going to mess up with cycles a little bit. Hitting specific switches, if you hit the wrong one, then it activates like a trap. Let's see, you're going to do that. Okay, there we go. So that one... yep, okay. That one might hit me. No, awesome. Okay, we're in the clear. That last switch on the left is a trap switch. If you hit that, you fall all the way back. And here we meet Anne for the first time. She's a completely random-based fight. She spawns these 4 oil puddles, and we hit them, and they just move in completely random directions. Then after each time, she falls down, and then we just do our 100 slices attack against her. If we stand off the side, she can't hurt us. And then we do that for 3 rounds. Oop. Okay. And this is like one of the toughest early game bosses. She does a significant chunk of damage, and it's pretty easy to lose health pretty quickly. And just like this for 3 rounds. It's not a very difficult fight once you know it, but... Ooh. Okay, there we go. Come on, 1 hit. Okay, there we go. Wonderful. And 1 last hit. Here we go. And she's pretty upset that we hurt her. And as a reward for defeating her, we get the Rift Key, which will let us go to another continent. Basically, travel between continents is through this altar that, as long as you have a Rift Key, you can travel between continents. And so now we have one of the keys, which lets us travel between this continent and Flora, which is also known as Flower Country in the Japanese version. And it's named as such because it's known for its flowers. So we will be coming back here as part of cleanup. We'll be coming back here 2 more times. Now the monsters are gone, the kids are playing, they're having a good time. But it's none of our concern. So we go back to where we started, and now we go inside the tree now that we can enter, and equip the Rift Key. And now we're in the new country. And we get some different music. And a whole new scheme of things. So now everything's a bit less foresty and different kinds of enemies. I'm going to be changing back to Turtle. Turtle's mostly just handy for doing that. It does have a couple uses later with a new ability we'll get. Oops. Almost missed a very important upgrade. Unceremoniously, we're getting 2 more transformations. We're getting the Mole, which will let us break rocks. And eventually let us do something else later, and I'll get into that when the time comes. And then we're also getting the Merman power ability, which lets us swim. And swimming is very important. And the Merman ability is a very convenient power-up. It's the only one that you don't have to menu to change. You can if you want, but you can only do that on land, and you'll just kind of flop there on the ground. Okay, there we go. And another mechanic is you can only talk to creatures of the same transformation you're at. So if you're human, you can talk to humans. If you talk to them as another creature, you'll get garbled text. And I think it's a neat little mechanic. There are moles you can talk to, and you get a nice apple from them, which is pretty handy, but not really necessary. It's just like if you go out of your way, you can get apples whenever you want, but you can only carry 1 at a time. So now we're going to the Lake Labyrinth. Go ahead and do a safety save. These crabs are very dangerous. Generally they move pretty slow, but sometimes they like to radically dash around. Ooh, I could use that later. So we're just going to ignore these jellyfish things. They just shoot stuff at you that kind of follows you. And then we're going to use the mole to break down this wall. Quickly change back to the human, because the human's the only one that can run. And also the human's the only one with fingers, so we can pull blocks and pull and push blocks around. So we're going to push it onto this, or pull it onto this switch here. And then there's a lever over here we want to pull as well. So we're going to just go around this hay, just to time it. There we go. Alright, that crab's not in the way. And to save a little bit of time later, we're going to pull this off, and when we come back in this room, it'll move it to the center for us to push to the other side to hit the other switch. So you're going to hit this guy because he's in the way. Sometimes you can get lucky and you don't have to kill that crab, but crabs are tasty, so we should just kill it anyways. Okay, this one's actually being very kind. Oh, is he gonna... Nope, he's not gonna hit me. Wonderful. Usually I end up having to kill that one, but this time he's being very generous. So I'm gonna go ahead and equip the crest we got. A theme of the dungeons is that there's a crest that we have to grab to enter the boss. And this one's a very random boss. He moves in a random direction, and he randomly pops up. And it can be very dangerous. Okay, there we go. And you can only hit him when he's out in his eye form. Okay, so yeah, it also has like 3 different attacks. He has like these red ones that just like kind of go all over the place, these blue ones that like go all over the place as well, and the yellow ones which are a bit better. Okay, this fight's not going all that great. This fight generally gives me trouble because just how erratic it is. Okay, a few more hits. So as long as like I just stay close to him but not too close, it's pretty okay. You just don't get a whole lot of time to attack. Okay, now we're in the final phase. We have to hit him 3 times as this eyeball. This is a bit scary. Okay, there we go. And we get another droplet. And now the turtle can super dash, which we only ever use twice in the run. So now we're going to go back to town, and we're going to utilize that super dash to enter a pathway that was previously blocked, because we need the super dash to break down the rock that's in the way. So I'm going to strange the turtle, hold down the 1 button, and bam, break right through, and that's it. We'll be seeing the turtle dash a bit more later when we go to the desert, because of course there's a desert, it's an RPG. So they're gonna go over here and go up here. So what's happening in this area is this girl grows flowers, but the water is dammed up for some reason, so we have to go unclog the dam. And magically the flowers will grow again, because I guess they're magic flowers or something. But we need to be the mole for that. But the game's kind enough to have you immediately transform back into the merman. And then we just swim for a little bit, and on the way there is an orange for us to grab. We're 1 step closer to becoming immune to scurvy. So now we're going to go up and around, and then we're going to talk to the girl. She'll give us a flower as a thanks for restoring the water. Basically, the flowers, they restore hope in people you show them to. It's very magical flowers. Oh, wrong menu. Okay, flowers are equipped. So now, this old guy here, he's happy the flowers are back too. And as thanks, he's going to give us a compass, which we'll need later on. But we're grabbing it now, because it's convenient. There we go. Now, as part of 100%, there's a little bit of a side quest we're going to start. We're going to go down here. There's a cave. And in this cave is a bunch of spikes we can just walk over. And here we find a cloaked man. And we have, he's trapped here. He can't walk over those spikes like we can. And showing him the flowers has renewed his vigor and hope that he'll one day escape. And he asks us to bring his comb to his sister to let her know that he's still alive. So we will be doing that later. But for now, we still need the flowers. We gotta bring hope back to other people, or one more person. So now we're going back to town. These little cotton balls are mean. So we're gonna go up over to this house. There's a kid in here we want to talk to. He's been pretty down in the dumps ever since the flowers disappeared. But now we're showing him the flowers. He's like, hey, can I see those flowers? And we're like, sure, why not? And somehow he just feels better. And out of the kindness of his heart, he's going to show us his favorite secret place that he found that we previously couldn't access because it was blocked by a couple of trees, but somehow the kid can remove them despite us having a sword. So we're going to go in here, we're going to get our most useful transformation, where we can turn into a mouse. The mouse moves much more quickly than the human's running speed. So we're going to go ahead and equip the compass and change to the mouse. So now we can just fly across the screen at breakneck speeds. And now we're going to go back to where we were before, because basically we needed the mouse to do the next labyrinth. And for this labyrinth, health is not that important, and you'll see why when the time comes. So we're be entering the jungle labyrinth, which is just basically a forest to confusion type area. The only catch is that the path's the same every single time, but unless you have the compass equipped, you can't follow the path. Like, if you try to follow without the compass, it'll just continuously loop around. So now we're gonna meet up with this dude here. Gonna change back to human because we gotta be able to talk to him. He wants our sword, which is named Seed for some reason, and he's gonna engage us in fighting, but we're just gonna beat him up. I'm gonna change back to the mouse. But so he's gonna go in the labyrinth ahead of us. But we'll run into him again. Get this nice little hidden orange here. And then navigate this, I don't know, I guess it's a maze. It's more like a pathway. And oh no, Garcia has been fallen to the trap. Oh yeah, that's right, his name is Garcia. So the gimmick of this one is that depending on how you manipulate the switches, you get different rooms, and we need to hit those purple orbs in each of the rooms. So sadly, he's in the way of one of the switches, so we need to change the mole to get him out of the way. He's like, I didn't need your help. And for whatever reason, he thinks that we can't figure out this ultra simple puzzle. So whenever you hit a switch, a rock falls. And you want to avoid the rocks, because otherwise it resets the switch. And then one more combination where we hit both switches. And this is why we need the mouse. Those tiles will break if you're anything but the mouse, because the mouse is light enough to not break those tiles. Go ahead and do another safety save. We're actually going to do a boss quick kill here. So there's a magic pixel you can stand on. Let's see, I think that might not be right. Yeah, that's not right. Okay, I'm just going to restart the fight. There's a magic pixel that you can step on, but you have to realign your sub-pixels, and the mouse is perfect for that. It just happens to work out perfectly. So we go over here, go over there, and then change back to the human, and there's a specific pixel we want to stand on right here, and we can avoid all damage from the boss. And casually, this boss is extremely difficult. The very first time I played this game, I think I spent like 3 or 4 hours trying to grind out this boss. And it turns out you can just do that. Now the mole has his secondary ability, which lets him dig into the ground wherever there's like suspicious marking. So I'm gonna go ahead, change to the mouse, and oops. A little bit of a menu mishap, and we're going to equip the Bird Rift key because we need to do some backtracking. We're going to be going back to Verda to grab some items that we couldn't get previously. Which, it basically just, we needed the mole's digging ability to get it. So we're going to go over here, and we can only jump down certain cliffs for whatever reason. And go in here, and we have to change to a human to use the rift keys, just how the game works out. The mouse is not worthy enough. But we're going to stay as the human for a little bit because we do need to talk to some people. We got to ruin some kid's day. Because clearly we're not all that great of a hero. So talk to this kid. He's like, hey, this is a Takitombo. And he's like, do you want to try it out? And we're like, sure, why not? And we just fly it off the screen. And now it's lost. So until you do that cutscene, we cannot go to this part of the forest. And conveniently, there's an old man here. He gives us some backstory of the game. Monsters used to be here, then Queen or Princess Rui saved them, and a bunch of yada yada stuff. So, but he gives us the life powder, which is right now all it's basically is Miracle Grow in its current form. And it's going to come in handy, because there's a dead tree over here, and conveniently it's an orange tree. And just like that, we get an orange. And, okay. And we're not quite done being human yet. I need to get this comb, and we're going to go talk to that red-cloaked fella's sister. Because she's been very depressed since he's gone missing. But thanks to the power of this comb, she now knows that he's still alive and well. And as thanks for letting her know that he's still alive, she gives us these grapes, which are very handy. What they do is that if you die with them equipped, they refill your health to full, and you do some stretches. It's very handy, casually for sure. So you can go ahead and kill that. And then we're going to go all the way back here towards the turtle altar, but we're going to go in a different direction. No! Ah! That's not good. I hit both of them. I mean, except we're going to go to the left instead of the right. And there's a funny little marking here. And we're going to change the mole and dig right into that. And one of my first thoughts is like, there's no way that you can see that marking on a Game Gear screen, but it turns out you can. I was very surprised about that. And then we're going to break open this wall, go through some invisible passageway. There we go. And then down and around, avoid that flame dude. And get another orange. Okay, wow, that guy didn't hit me. Normally, like I would say about 95% of runs, that dude will hit me. And here we're going to get another item for 100% required, the floating stone. It's an item that you'll probably be unlikely to find casually. And it's not required to finish the game at all. It's completely optional. So all we came here was for the float stone and an orange. For now, we will be coming back once more. Because there are some items that we can't get without further power upgrades. It'd be nice if we can do it all in one trip, but it's not possible. So now we're going back to Flora. Oop, there we go. Gonna equip the Rift Key. Go back to Human. And we're going to stay as human for a little bit, only because we're going to be transforming again, and it does take time to go through the menus. Okay, going to change to the turtle. And with our turtle dash ability, we're just going to dash around, because we do need the dash ability to go to the desert. Okay, realign myself, bam. And we're just going to fly across the screen. And luckily, that's just enough distance to break that rock. Okay. Oh, I'm going to equip that while I'm here. So the floating stone has only one use, and it's to get a hidden transformation. It's like, you know it's there because it's in your inventory as a question mark, but it's not listed anywhere in the manual. I was very surprised about that. So it's clearly something that you have to find on your own, because it's completely optional to get. It's not necessary to finish the game with it, although all other power transformations are. But first, we're going to come down here, get this orange. Then we're going to go up here. Just going to avoid these sand traps. And here, this palace. It only exists while you have the float stone equipped. The moment you unequip the float stone, it disappears. And it gives us a hidden upgrade where we can turn into a bird. Now, the bird doesn't really do anything special. It moves as fast as the human running. But it lets you fly over obstacles, as long as you're mashing the attack button. So it's going to come in handy in a dungeon later, actually. But for now, we're just using it just to get past the obstacles. So now we're getting to the Desert Labyrinth, which has one of my favorite tracks, but we don't get to hear a whole lot of it, only because whenever you go into a menu, it resets the track to the start. But there will be a little bit of time where we get to hear it as we're leaving the dungeon, because this is the only one without a boss. But this dungeon very heavily relies on transformations to get around. So we need to be the power of the human, because we need those trusty fingers to pull levers and stuff. Kill that. Hit this switch. And then we're going to mull it up. And change to the mouse for a little bit so we can go really fast. Ah! I'd prefer to keep my health, but it's okay to lose some. Nope, this is the only game in the series. It was basically a swan song game for the Game Gear. This game was made by Sega in-house. And, there we go. And we got the hourglass, which is necessary if you're doing any percent, or rather, I shouldn't say any percent, but okay, there we go. If you don't get the bird power up, the bird power up completely negates the need for the hourglass. But this is 100% category, and we've got to get everything. I'm gonna go over here and get this just to get a little extra health back. Though it's completely unnecessary, I just feel more comfortable. And now we're out of the Desert Labyrinth, and there's no boss or anything. The only thing there is the hourglass. And we do want to stay as the mouse for a while, because it's actually going to be necessary to get an item later. Let's see, alright. Okay, those guys were cooperative. Sometimes they just go all over the place. And now we're going back to the lake, except instead of going to the left, we will be going to the right. Okay, gonna equip the life powder. And of course, go back to the mouse because we want to go really fast. Alright, now we're going into the waterfall labyrinth. And they expect you to equip the what's the word I'm looking for? The lamp, but we can just do this blind. And because we have the life powder equipped, this mouse gives us the purifying powder, which is an upgraded life powder. Now it does more than just be Miracle Grow. And we're gonna go up and over. There we go. Now we're going to change to the bird. So normally here we'd be using the hourglass to slow down these moving conveyor belts, I guess. I don't know. They're like some sort of like sandfall. And you're supposed to use the hourglass to slow them down so you can cross it. But instead we just use the bird and completely bypass it. And then here we go. So we have to use the mouse to get through that hole after opening it as the mole, but we do need to be back as the human. And we're going to push this giant boulder uphill. You can clearly tell it's uphill by these grooves in the ground. And the rock does actually fall back into place when you let go. So we're going to just swim over here. There's 2 switches we need to hit. One over here and one on the other side of the dungeon as well. And then, of course, there's more of these jellyfish enemies that we saw earlier in the Lake Labyrinth. We can just safely ignore them. This one I'm just going to do a little bit of maneuver around, and just to avoid its attacks, to kind of bait them in a different direction. Change back to the mouse. And then we grab this crest. I'm going to equip it, because we need it equipped. Like, we can do it whenever, just do it there since I'm already in the menu. And this boss also has a quick kill. This one's a bit, both easier and more difficult. It has 3 phases. And so we're gonna go over here for the first phase. And then the second phase, I should be okay right here. Yes. Second phase is the most dangerous phase, because you kind of have to just kind of eyeball where you need to stand. It does like this wrecking ball attack. And it does a ton of damage. And just like that, with the quick kill, we can take care of this boss really quickly. Okay, so now that we defeated the boss, we got a new ability for the mouse called the magnet ability, which lets us pull ourselves to magnetize objects or pull them to us if they are movable. And it's actually a very useful ability. It's going to let us do the next dungeon and also let us do some really fun stuff later. I'm going to go over here and see, just like that, we pull across the screen. So here we're at this swamp that's been polluted by some evil magic. If you go into the water without the purifying powder equipped, you will lose HP very quickly and probably die from poisoning. Okay, good. That enemy's not in the way. Sometimes that enemy gets in the way. And this right here is probably one of the shortest labyrinths. There's only 4 rooms and it loops around. Basically the gimmick is that there's a hidden door. Oh, there we go. There we go, and we're here in the boss. Another random boss, but the first phase is pretty consistent. This one, just like he spins around, he does fire, and you can hit him twice before he moves on. And now his next phase, where he just teleports around. It can be in 9 possible locations, and you just have to hope that you're near where he is. And after every 3 teleports, he goes in the middle and does that attack. And if you stand in a specific spot, he won't hurt you. C2. Oh, it's too slow. The window for... Ow. Window for attacking him is really short. So it's kind of hard just to run to him. Ooh, that's unfortunate. Okay. Okay, nope, he's still not dead yet. Oh, that's unfortunate. I was just not standing in the right spot at all. It's been a long time since I've died to that boss, but it does happen. And that's okay. I got hit going in the menu, or going into the room. Okay, and one more hit. Okay, there we go. Hopefully we get better luck this time. Nope. And sometimes I just don't react quick enough either. Oop, I was not counting. go. And sometimes you can get double damage on him if you mash quick enough on your flurry attack. Okay, I didn't want to use it, but I'm gonna have my grapes equipped in case something happens. There we go. Okay, grapes were not necessary. I'm gonna unequip them. Just gotta be safe. So now we learn the ability to dive and swim underwater as the merman. Basically only in places where there's deep water. So not here. So we're gonna go up here, get another orange. And now we're gonna go back to the lake that we were at previously. So you change to the mouse. Oh, there we go. It's alright taking a little damage. I'd prefer not to, but sometimes you just can't help it. So now you'll notice that there's some dark spots in the water. That's spots where you can submerge as the fish, or the merman. So we're going to hit that, and that'll open up the door over here. There's nothing else really down here. Some jellyfish, I'm going to avoid those. See, and then here, I'm going to change to the mouse. Just going to go ahead and safety save, although it doesn't really matter. And here we're going to do some fun stuff with the magnet ability. You get some block pushing and pulling puzzles. It's okay to take damage as long as we don't take too much. And everybody's favorite floor tile puzzles, where you have to, if you press them out of order or anything like that, then, or not out of order, but like if you accidentally press the same one again, you have to start over. And they're just not fun, but, you know, they're whatever. Okay, I'm gonna pull that a little bit, change to human. So we're gonna do some puzzle skipping, because, you know, who wants to do puzzles in a speed run? So we're gonna go ahead and pull this block over here. I'm gonna go ahead and do a safety save, because I have messed it up. And we're going to do some collision shenanigans where we're going to pull this into us just by like a little bit, and the game doesn't know what to do. It's trying to basically push us back in bounds. So, and thankfully, we can just go out of bounds just like that. Basically, the way it works is that the game's collision is trying to push you back into bounds, and conveniently, the turtle is slow enough to not get pushed back into the bounds by it. So we have to do that one more time in this area. Because we had to do it once to get the orange, and it just means that we have to redo it again. There we go. So we're going to do this one more time, and it just lets us skip some puzzles that you'd otherwise have to do. Okay, go ahead and do that. And then so we just hold right here until it pushes us far enough out of bounds, and then the way it works is you can only move in diagonals, and it moves in the opposite direction that you're going. So now we're going to take advantage of the bird once more. Conveniently, the bird's shadow is powerful enough to hit switches while avoiding those projectiles that can really ruin your day. So go ahead and save here. And we're going to be doing an out-of-bounds shenanigans one more time with the mouse. So you pull that to the wall, pull that one into me, change to the turtle, and just like that, we skip a bunch of puzzles. And this is the very last puzzle in the game, or in this dungeon, for us at least. There is another really clever and interesting magnet puzzle that we're not going to do. Because the game, strangely enough, is was nice enough to put a little block or damage thing here, damage spike there, so we can just skip the whole puzzle altogether by damage boosting through it. Okay, there we go. And because we fell down, oh yeah, our name is Zetz. This is like the first time our name's ever mentioned. So that's supposedly Princess Rui, but it's actually Goal disguised as her. And we've walked right into his trap. So now we're going to change that to the human. If I position myself correctly, we'll get a quick kill on first phase. Nope. Okay, there we go. Almost a quick kill. So now phase 2, he's going to hop around. Okay, there we go. Very nice, phase 2. That sometimes can be a little scary because you are fairly low health and he does a significant chunk of damage. So they have Princess Rui, and we need to find the final droplet. We have 5 of the 6 of them to complete the water prism. Because basically, the villain Moa is after the 3 prisms. There's a prism of light, a prism of water, and I believe the other one's prism of earth or something. I don't remember. And Moa needs those to control the continent, like, or the country rather. Like, Moa doesn't have, like, grand ambitions like trying to take over the world or the universe or galaxy or whatever. He's only interested in a single continent. You know, he has realistic goals. But we still can't let him get away with it. So use the Miracle Grow again. We're going back to the first country. To get 1 more orange and another item that we couldn't get previously, and that'll basically complete our backtracking. Because we needed the mouse's magnetized ability to get to the last item in the area. So the kids, they found another Takitombo, or whatever those were called. Those spinny paper things. Okay, I need to change the turtle 1 last time. And then we can be the mouse and just zoom away. So this is basically where we were at the very beginning of the game. We saw these orbs here, we saw this chest, but we couldn't access it. And then once you learn of the magnet ability, if you remember to go back here, you'll be rewarded with an orange and a very special upgrade. So we got a hidden labyrinth down here, and there's a very special upgrade at the end. Go over here, change to the mole. Back to the mouse. Now we can stay as the mouse for a little bit. And here we open Pandora's box. And instead of unleashing the evils on the world, it actually just reduces all damage we take by half. And strangely enough, you can close the box after opening it and return your damage taken back to normal. I guess they had wanted to give you the option to open it and close it at will. And OmniGamer, who did the routing for this game, had said that there's actually a hidden tile off the map that is a door. Actually acts as a door to an unfinished portion of the game, where the thinking is that originally there was intent to be able to have easy access back to the Pandora's box. Oops. But they never finished it. Okay, so now we're entering the last country. It's fairly short, maybe about 15-20 minutes, I would guess. Oop, wrong. There we go. So now we have to use first have to use the Verta key to go back to Flora before we can go to the last country, the forest country. No, didn't want that one. There we go. So now we're in Sylvan, which is also known as the forest country in the Japanese version, or Japanese text. Ah, there we go. Here we go. So now we just got some sort of hidden passageways to go through to get another orange. And we've almost become immune to scurvy. We're almost there. So now we can change back to the mouse for a little bit for a lot of speedy pace. I'm gonna go down here and all the way around. There's a chest there, we'll pick it up later. Luckily, health's not too important right now, so we can just take whatever damage we want. Things aren't going to hurt us very much now that we take half damage, and we have a lot of health to work with. And now we're going to go over to a graveyard, because what's an RPG without a graveyard? Ooh, nice, that slime just jumped for me. And we find two lovely ladies here who are mourning over someone's death. And it turns out we're too late. Princess Rui has been killed by her kidnappers. And before she died, she left the message that we should get this amulet, which is needed to enter the final boss. But we're not quite ready to enter the final boss yet. So you change to the mouse. But we do need to head that way, because plot dictates that we do. So now we're going back through the forest. We're gonna get that chest up there that contains one of the last oranges. It's over here. Very hard to get, totally. So it's very important that we have the amulet equipped right now. Because basically we're going to enter a room up here that has an invisible pathway that only exists while we have the amulet equipped. I'm going to change back to Zetz. And we get this wall skull thing. And once we hit it, our sword broke. And now we're defenseless, we can't do anything except ram our head into the other guy's head. And conveniently, the guy we only met once before, his name is Garcia, he comes by and saves us after trying to steal our sword. And here, in a near-death experience, we meet Princess Rui. And we get a lot of plot dump. Tells us about about Moa, Lord of the Monsters, that he's after the prisms. Oh, wind, that's it, not earth. And he's already found 2 of them, but she hid the last one by scattering it into 6 droplets. And we found 5 of them, and the 6th one is currently missing, and in the afterlife she tells us where to find it. And also leads us to believe that she's actually our mother, and had abandoned us as a child for our safety, because she knew that this day would come. And the game's kind enough to like, hey, do you want to repeat this? You could just, it automatically defaults to, no, don't repeat this. And yeah, it's really terrible. She dies in the process of being held captive. So now we're currently defenseless. We have no health. We have no weapon. We can't transform. But luckily, the caretaker who is taking care of our near dead self revives us after Garcia comes and saves us. So all we can do is push blocks and pull blocks. That's all we're good for right now, but that's all we need. We don't need any more than that. What hero needs more than being able to push and pull blocks? So we're just going to push these blocks to open up a passageway. There we go. That'll let us go to the second to last dungeon. Oh, actually, no, yeah, the final dungeon. But before that, we need to get an orange off a tree. Whoops. Need to equip that. Okay, and then I need to equip the amulet again because that's needed to get into the final dungeon. So we have to go back up here, drop down. Whoa, there's a lot of enemies in that clustered there. Go over here, hold up the amulet like the hero we are, and it opens up the pathway to the final dungeon. So in this dungeon, they expect us to use our trusty fingers to push a block onto that switch to put down the flame, but we can just walk through fire because we're Zets. We're just amazing like that. Oops, wrong way. We're almost immune to scurvy. We're just about there. There's one more orange to complete our immunity. And with that, the final droplet, we now have restored the water prism. And we also can transform once again. And we can be our handy mousy self. Okay, we can be back our turtley self as well. Okay, so we're gonna be doing a refight of Goal and Anne, but first we need to get the very final orange to be completely immune to scurvy, which is just conveniently located right here. And we're also going to learn about a hidden mechanic in the game that's required to beat it. This is something I actually had to look up for myself because the game does not explain anywhere that you can do this. So you're going to go ahead and do a safety save. But if you drop down as a turtle, you can break down this specific floor. And it's the only time in the game that it occurs. This time we fight Goal again, but things have changed. Now that attack is a bit different. It now has like a now that it kind of arcs instead of just as going as a single direction. Okay, got caught. And he has a lot more health as well. Okay, there we go. And now, after every 3 hits, he turns into a bunch of little spiders, and we just have to wait it out. And then he drops down on top of us, and we repeat it again. No, taking too much damage. Like, it's fine, it just wastes time at the end of the fight when your health refills. And I've actually had an occurrence where I've soft-locked this fight where he'll jump out of, or he'll spawn out of bounds. Okay, there we go, that was a little bit scary. Alright, now we got the Prism of Light, because for whatever reason Moa's left and right hand men have both the prisms. So now we're gonna push our way out and go refight Anne. But before that, there's a block we can't push on our own. It's just too heavy. And for whatever reason, we pushed heavier blocks, but this one's just too heavy. And if you push it long enough, eventually Garcia shows up, and with the power of friendly rivalry, he helps us out. And this refight's really disappointing. It's exactly the same as the first time you fight her, except it lasts for 7 long phases instead of 3. Okay. And I'm just gonna... there we go. And instead of attacking her from the side, you attack her from the front, and she doesn't do anything. So this is the first phase of 7, and it's exactly the same. It doesn't change at all. Ooh. And these guys hurt a lot, too. So I try to keep it in the middle. I don't know if it actually saves any time, but it, you know, it just feels like it does. So now we're on the second time of 7. Just gonna take it a bit safe and slow. Ooh, okay. Number 3. So it's technically like 19 hits, I think. Ooh, okay, there we go. Number 4. So we're just poking her in the eye. Okay. No. Okay, there we go. And number 5. Only 2 more to go. We're almost there. So dying in this fight is very detrimental, because of course you just have to redo the whole thing, and it's already a fairly lengthy fight on its own. Okay, number 6. We're almost there. Just hold out a little bit longer. We're already immune to scurvy, we just need to save the country now with our scurvy immune powers. Okay. And I lost count, I think this is the last one. Yep. And we have the final prism, and with that we can have now we can do a charge attack, which is called the Power Slash. And that's actually, it does the same damage as the 100 Slash, or 100 Slices attack, but it's required to defeat the next 2 bosses. And why am I not the mouse? That's a good question. I could be going faster. So because we never did the puzzles, they're still act as uncompleted. So we can just boost right through them, and it's a lot easier as the mouse because the mouse moves faster, which means you move farther when you get damage boost. So now we're gonna go topple Moa and save the world. So you can go over here. And up and around. And now we're going back to fight that wall skull dude. I don't know if he has a name officially, there wasn't one I could find. But it doesn't matter, he's gonna go down all the same. Go ahead and make a safety save. And change back to Zets. Okay, nope, I didn't hold it long enough. There we go. Nope. Okay, that's not good. There we go, I was like just not in the right position. Okay, awesome, didn't take that extra hit. And now that the wall guy's dead, the actual entrance to Moa is open. So we're just gonna position ourselves in a way to take care of these dudes. Go ahead and make one final safety save. Now, casually, I had trouble with this fight because I didn't really understand what you were supposed to do. The first time I fought him was like, it's interesting. Basically, what you have to do is you have to hit him normally to stun him, and then you do a power slash to actually damage him. And he's pretty unhappy that we have all 3 prisms. He's like, give them to me, I can use them better than you. So the first phase I actually find the most difficult, just because of those orbs. They come pretty quickly if you don't know what to react. Okay, so you can get 2 hits in. It's possible to get a 3rd hit if you're quick enough, but I'm just going to take it safe. Okay, now we've entered phase 2. It's mostly the same, except now he has those little star thingies. Equip the grapes just in case. They will refill our life if we die. Okay, good luck on that one. So this is just the rest of the fight. And there's one more phase, but it's mostly more of the same, except he does a different attack. No, I messed that up. For some reason, I just could not get a run speed. So at least you get to see what their grapes do. They refill our health to full, and we do a little bit of stretches. Or no, we don't do stretches. We just get excited. Whoops, I messed that up. I let go a little too soon. That's okay, though. We're in the final phase now. He does these, like, lightning attacks. And time will be coming up very soon. Oh, nice, I got an extra hit in. And that's time. Grah, grah, don't you think you've seen the end of me? I will surely rise again someday, for sure. Just do a little bit of moonwalking. With the power of oranges and grapes, we have saved Sylvan. And Princess Rui's ghost is saving us, is thanking us for saving the country. Zet's my son. They kind of like allude to that, but it's like pretty obvious because you're just like you have nothing. No, this is far from a world record. The world record is by Omni Gamer, and it's about like a 58 something, and that's on the Japanese version, which saves a couple minutes from text. So we can see all the people who made this game. The most famous name I know is the composer who went to work on the Panzer Dragoon games, namely Saga and Orta. I believe she also did some tracks for Zwei. But yeah, Saori Kobayashi, that's her name. I was like, I knew it was something Kobayashi. But yes, I highly recommend giving this game a casual playthrough. It's very excellent. A swan song for the Game Gear, with great soundtrack, and you know, it plays really well. Yes, Saori Kobayashi, she does amazing work. Check her out. And that is the end. Nice, short, sweet credits. But thanks so much for having me at Questing for Glory. I'm so glad I got to show off this game. I've been in love with it for a couple of years now, ever since I first found out it existed. And thanks so much for having me, and enjoy the rest of the marathon, and good luck to the next runner.